What if the dream of Mars isn't really about exploration at all? For decades we have been told that reaching Mars is the destiny of humanity, the next giant leap, the frontier that will define our age. We imagine astronauts planting flags, children laughing under glass domes, explorers carving a new home from the red dust. The imagery is intoxicating, the rhetoric inspiring. But what if the dream hides a darker truth? What if the richest and most powerful people alive are not pouring billions into rockets because of hope, but because of fear? What if the true mission to Mars is not about saving humanity's future, but escaping humanity's present? Why are billionaires suddenly obsessed with leaving Earth? The timing is peculiar. For most of the 20th century, space travel was the domain of governments. NASA and the Soviet space program raced to the moon, each launch a statement of national pride and geopolitical dominance. But Mars remained a dream too distant, too costly, too complex. Then, almost overnight, the narrative shifted. Private entrepreneurs, men who had already bent Earth to their will through technology, finance, and media, declared that Mars was within reach. From Silicon Valley boardrooms to aerospace hangars hidden in deserts, fortunes are being poured into rockets and colonization plans. These billionaires already control platforms that shape public opinion, data that maps our behavior, and infrastructure that underpins daily life. They already rule Earth in every practical sense. So why gamble everything to flee into the cold, hostile unknown of Mars? Why risk lives and empires for a barren rock? Unless, perhaps, the rock is not barren at all, or unless Earth itself has a countdown clock the public has not yet been shown. Could Mars be a lifeboat for the elite? Look around at the planet we call home. Climate change is accelerating. Ice caps melt, seas rise, forests burn. Populations swell while resources dwindle. Pandemics sweep across borders faster than governments can respond. Economic inequality widens into an abyss. For most of humanity, these are problems to solve, disasters to endure. But for the elite, they may be signals, warnings that the age of Earth's stability is ending. Mars, then, is not adventure. Mars is escape. Imagine the domes not as laboratories but as lifeboats, sealed against the chaos of a dying Earth. Inside, temperature is regulated, air filtered, water recycled. Outside, Earth suffers storms, famine, conflict. Mars becomes not humanity's salvation, but a fortress for the chosen few. A Red Eden where survival is purchased with unimaginable wealth, while billions remain stranded in the inferno below. If the powerful can retreat to the stars, who will be left to inherit the ruins of Earth? What secrets are hidden in colonization plans? We are shown animated videos of rockets landing gently, colonies gleaming under alien suns, families walking hand in hand across Martian soil. But beneath the glossy imagery lies silence. Private contracts are signed behind closed doors. Technologies are tested in deserts, oceans, and Arctic wastelands with little explanation. Timelines shift without warning, and when journalists press for details, answers dissolve into vague promises. Could it be that Mars colonization is already more advanced than we are told? Could prototypes of habitats already exist, hidden underground, their walls tested against radiation and pressure? Could the first colonies be designed not for tens of thousands of settlers, but for a few hundred billionaires, their families, and the loyal staff required to serve them? The public sees dreams of humanity. The reality may be a gated community on a planetary scale. Why Mars, and not the Moon? The Moon is closer. It is safer, easier to supply, visible every night. Logically, it should be the first step toward a new civilization. And yet, the obsession is not with the Moon but with Mars. Why? Mars offers more than its barren image suggests. Beneath the surface lies frozen water, essential for life. Vast lava tubes and caves offer natural shelter from deadly radiation, ready-made fortresses waiting to be sealed. Minerals and metals may be abundant, ready to fuel industries beyond Earth. And there are whispers, unconfirmed, unexplained, of anomalies. Photographs that hint at geometric structures, signals that vanish without explanation, patterns in dust that suggest more than nature. If Mars holds secrets, then perhaps the billionaires are not going to build a new world, but to claim an old one. Perhaps Mars is not empty, but waiting. What if Mars is a testing ground for power? On Earth, even billionaires are tethered by rules. Governments impose regulations. Laws limit ambition. Public opinion resists domination. But Mars is free of such chains. On Mars, there are no parliaments, no courts, no constitutions. Whoever builds the first colony will not merely live there, they will rule it. A Martian settlement is a blank canvas. It can be designed from scratch, its laws, its hierarchies, its currency, even its definitions of rights and freedoms. Imagine a society where the billionaire is not a citizen but a king, where contracts replace constitutions, where obedience is demanded as survival. On Mars, the elite could create the ultimate social experiment, a world built in their image, a mirror of their desires, unchecked by the messy resistance of democracy. For them, Mars is not escape from danger, but escape from accountability. Could Mars be humanity's backup, or its replacement? The official story insists colonization is about survival. If Earth suffers catastrophe, Mars will preserve humanity. But the numbers tell another tale. How many could truly be saved? A few hundred in the early decades, perhaps a few thousand with decades more. Billions would remain behind. If Earth collapses, the ark of survival will carry not humanity, but a fragment, a sliver chosen by wealth, connections, and utility. Genetic diversity, cultural heritage, and the shared struggles of billions would vanish, while a narrow elite sails onward. In such a future, Mars does not preserve humanity. Mars replaces it. And the question of who counts as humanity is answered not by merit or need, but by money. What if Mars is already part of a hidden plan? Space agencies reveal only fragments of their knowledge. Classified missions vanish into black budgets. Strange gaps appear in data streams. Probes fail with suspicious frequency, explanations thin and unsatisfying. What if the private race to Mars is not a race at all, but a collaboration hidden in plain sight? What if governments and corporations share knowledge about Mars that the public has never been allowed to see? What if missions have already been launched in secret, their goals concealed, their successes buried beneath layers of denial? If so, then perhaps the first seeds of a Martian society have already been planted. Perhaps the journey has already begun, and we were never meant to know until it was too late. Could Mars become the new frontier of inequality? Imagine two civilizations. One thrives under glass domes on Mars, its air pure, its water recycled, its wealth untouched. The other struggles on Earth, battered by storms, crippled by famine, divided by scarcity. On Mars, the elite expand their power, shaping their society as they see fit. On Earth, billions are abandoned to decline. This is not science fiction. This is the logical outcome of inequality stretched across planets. Mars would not unite humanity. It would split it irreparably, paradise for the few, apocalypse for the many. Would those left on Earth accept their fate, or would they rise against the rulers who fled, demanding justice across the void? What if Mars isn't about the future, but about control of the present? Mars captivates the imagination. Rockets soaring into the sky, explorers walking across alien landscapes, it feels like progress, like hope. But hope can distract. While we dream of tomorrow, the elite tighten their grip on today. Billions of dollars vanish into space projects, while Earth's problems fester. Could Mars be the ultimate misdirection? A glittering vision of salvation that blinds us to the collapse unfolding around us? While we gaze at the stars, the ground beneath our feet fractures. If so, then the true reason for Mars is not the preservation of humanity, but the preservation of power. Not the salvation of all, but the salvation of a few. Who will decide who gets to escape? When the rockets stand ready, their engines humming, who will be chosen to board? The billionaires who funded them. The governments that permitted them. The scientists whose labor made them possible. Perhaps a handful of workers, selected for loyalty, strength, or silence. The rest of humanity will remain, watching as the fire trails across the sky, knowing the door to eternity has closed. Mars will not be humanity's second chance. It will be a ticket too expensive, too exclusive, too narrow for most of humanity to ever hold. The Ark will sail without us, leaving billions to drown in the storm. Closing whisper: so the next time you watch rockets blaze into the night sky, ask yourself, are they carrying humanity's hope, or humanity's betrayal? Are they soaring toward a brighter future, or fleeing from a truth too terrible to face? Because perhaps the real reason tech billionaires are escaping to Mars is not about saving the world at all. Perhaps it is about leaving it behind, sealing survival in domes of red dust, and abandoning Earth to its fate. And if that is true, then the greatest question of our age is not whether we can reach Mars, but whether we can stop our own leaders from abandoning us to get there.